Hey guys, it is me, Tanya, founder of the TNG Designs Group Limited. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about what does your brand say about you? That part. What does your brand say about you? How many of you have actually thought about that, right? Well, before you get stuck into this video, make sure that you go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel. And go ahead and hit that little ding bell so you get reminded as to when I go ahead and upload a new video for you. Now, as always, make sure that you stick around to the very end because I've got a super cool gift to be able to share with you. So folks, let's get stuck into this and let's go. Okay, as I said, we're going to be talking about the idea of what does your brand say about you? What does your brand say about you? Who's ever even thought about that, right? Because 9 times out of 10, you're probably thinking that, do you know what, Tan, why do I need to worry about that? I need to worry about getting these sales in. I need to make sure that I'm reaching out to the right people. I need to make sure, blah, 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 right? And that ball keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. But guess what? Take a pause point, folks, because you need to make sure that you are understanding what your brand says about you. Because if you don't know what your brand says about you, then yeah, you're going to be working twice as hard to make sure that you actually reach to those customers. You're going to make sure that you're going to be working twice as hard to make sure that you're actually getting the response that you need, right? You need to address this now so you don't have to work twice as hard. Think about that. Address this now. So the number one thing that you want to make sure that you're doing, especially when it comes to you and your brand, is to make sure that you're standing out as that expert. Now, how do you even do that, right? Well, go ahead and check out this video, number 1, to be able to position yourself as the expert. But number 2 is understanding that, do you know what? Okay, I need people to see that I'm the expert. So let me make sure I tackle those values. Let me make sure that I'm hitting those statistics that actually are relevant to that. Let me make sure that I'm actually delivering value-based content so people actually know that I actually understand them. Because this is what happens, folks. When you start positioning yourself as the expert, you start becoming that go-to person. People will naturally flock to you because, guess what? You're giving that advice and you're giving it with sincerity. And that's the key part to be able to make sure that you do that. So the number 2 thing to understand what your brand actually says about you is understanding that, you know what, okay, what am I known for? And again, I've done another video on this, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. But when you get to understand what you want to be known for, you get to understand what is that message that I'm trying to say to these people in the first place, right? Give you an idea. For me, it's always about the idea of I want to help others to see that they are more than what they see. And that comes from me tackling or even tapping into their brand power of 3. Now, a lot of the times you're going to go surface level, but I have an ability to be able to go just that little bit deeper to be able to get out the information that I need in order to make sure that their brand gets elevated to the best of its ability as well. And it's super key and important to be able to do that because when you know what you want to be known for, you get to know how to direct each and every one of your marketing tools. You get to know how to direct and position your marketing in with all the collateral that comes from it, right? But it's going to start making sense to not only yourself, but equally to your audience. That part. Your audience needs clarity because as we know, confused people, what do? They don't buy, right? We want to make sure that they buy. We want to make sure that they get all the information from you as much as possible, but at the same time, understand that you know how to help them. And it's taking them on that journey and it's helping them to understand. So that part. And the number 3 thing that you want to make sure that you get to understand, especially when it comes to the idea of what does your brand say about you, right? It's understanding, are you speaking the same language as your audience in the first place? Or more so, are you speaking the right language that suits your personality of your brand? Those 2 parts. So let's tackle the first bit, right? If you're speaking the language that your audience understands, you're speaking on their terms, right? Don't throw a whole bunch of jargon at them because they're not going to get it in that kind of a way. Not yet. Lead or question or even approach them in a phrase, using phrases, using language that they actually understand and know. Imagine, it's almost like having 2 people speaking completely 2 different foreign languages, right? Imagine one person speaking French, imagine another person speaking Spanish. Although sometimes a lot of people can understand each other because the languages are a smidgen similar, some of the phrasing. However, not everything is the same, right? Imagine those two people trying to talk to each other. They won't know how to talk to each other unless they have the common language that actually helps them to understand how they can actually progress with one another. So that's something similar that you're trying to do, right? You've got to make sure that you're speaking the same language as what your audience actually understands. You've got to have that commonality factor. You've got to have that common language that everybody can actually resonate with and actually understand to be able to move that next step forward. Then when you get them onto that next step, then you start using a little bit of terminology that actually resonates with who they are, or resonates with you, in fact, you and your brand. So then they get it even more. Then you do a little bit more and a little bit more, right? You introduce them to you a little bit more every time. So folks, really think about that. And then the second part of the idea of language is, again, I sort of tapped back onto it a little bit. Your tone of voice, yourself, right? Your brand identity. What is that for yourself? Are you speaking in a different language or different phrasing that is more posh, but at the same time doesn't apply to your brand? It's not going to resonate, folks. It's just not going to resonate. You got to use your tongue. You got to use your own mother language. Let's call it that, right? Because at the same time, as much as you want to make sure you resonate with your audience so that they do actually get what you're trying to say to them or speak to them about and share that message, you've got to have your own brand identity as well, with an identity that actually suits you and your personality. Don't try and copycat somebody else. Don't try and be something else, because it's not going to work. Have your own language. Use a language that has commonality grounds. And really think about that, folks. So I'm going to let those 3 ideas marinate with you, right? Really think about that, and go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel as well, so you can get even more videos as well to understand what each and every one of these points are actually going into depth of, right? But even more so, go ahead and share it, because it's a message that I feel like a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs as well need to make sure that they know, so they can go ahead and elevate their brand. And speaking about brand elevation, make sure that you go ahead and click on the link below, because this is my gift from me to you, and I want to make sure that you guys partake in it. And it's understanding 6 brand principles that will actually help to elevate your brand even more so you can start stepping out above the competition, so you're not getting drowned out from the noise as to what they're getting on with. So you can start making those better connections even more so, boost your visibility, but at the same time actually start wanting to work with people that you actually resonate with and can connect with on a better level. So think about that, folks. Go ahead and download that guide by clicking onto the link literally below this video, which is in the description section. Subscribe to my channel, like it as well, and make sure you go ahead and hit that ding bell. And folks, I will see you on the other side.